Hey everybody, how's it going? Brbteabreak here, today talking about Fable Fortune, a card game based in the Fable Universe. This video will just be going over if the game is actually fun, by going over the good and the bad. One thing to note about Fable Fortune gameplay wise and this review is that it's based off the pre-release version. The biggest pro for me in this game is being able to react and adapt to the opponent on the fly through various ways. One of the ways is through the card mechanics themselves. Lots of different ways to get reactive plays from the cards you're playing. One mechanic is Eulogy, and that gives you, when you play a card, an additional effect if something has died on the board during your turn. Another system called Morality is a system based around good versus evil, meaning cards have multiple uses depending on how you prepare prior in the game. But we'll talk a bit more about that in a second. Guard in general is very different in this game. In order to block, taunt, guard, whatever you want to call it, you have to spend 1 gold, which is the mana system in this game, and it's like a buff for a single card that ends at the start of your next turn, and you can do this once per turn. So every card in your deck now has a possibility of being a card with guard. And there's no cards by default that have guard, so it means, as I said, any card can have guard on the game. Though there are some cards with special effects called Safeguard, which gain additional effects when they get the guard benefit, something like, bonus HP or damage. So it's like a middle ground between Magic the Gathering blocking and blocking in something like Hearthstone, which obviously is really nice to have. It kind of sucks when you get rushed down, but you can play big minions that have a really big taunt, stuff like that, and you have a taunt every turn anyway, so you generally have some sort of defense up. You also have, as I said, the morality system. That's based around the quest system, which is based around your hero ability changing all the time. So you have hero abilities. I was playing the Gravedigger a lot, and what she does is that she presses for 2 gold. She gets a 1/1 minion with charge slash it's rush they call it. Sorry, so pretty much an attack straight away. And obviously that's really good. But if I go with the good quest line, I actually get to have 2 minions on the board, and one of them doesn't have charge but it doesn't die, or I go evil and it has 2 attack instead of 1 attack, so obviously really cool. And you get to pick the morality based off the quest system, which is they're set per map, at least from what I could tell, like per like a season, I guess you could say. And for example, this season was like play 2 minions with Last Laugh, which is Death Rattle, or play 4 minions at 4 cost or under. So you play these quests, you finish them, you get like a cool bonus effect of your hero power, and you also get the morality of good and evil, and you even get a special card again. In some cases it was to draw another card or another minion from your graveyard. So pretty much you want to do these quests all the time. Adds another dynamic to your gameplay where you're trying to fight the opponent but also trying to do this quest on the side. Really cool. Another thing that I really like, which is probably strange to most people and not important, is how you gain currency in the game, silver in this game they call it. And generally when you play these card games, you don't win anything if you lose, which obviously majorly sucks. You get some experience, maybe you complete part of a quest depending on what it is. In this game you get silver all the time. Win, lose, doesn't matter what happened, you get some sort of currency. So it means you're always gaining something, and if you lose, you're not, totally out. So really cool in that regard. Now in saying that though, the game isn't perfect in any stretch of the imagination. It has some issues, but it's not really with the game itself, it's more so with the client. So firstly, the UI is like really clunky to use. A lot of times I play cards in my hands and I go, you know what, I don't want to play it, put it back into my hands, and it's still played anyway because the area that you have to put the card back into is really small. Problems like not being able to see how many cards on your deck left really sucks. I had a lot of cards that were about resurrecting minions from the dead because I was playing like a resurrection necromancer style class, and I couldn't see my cards in the graveyard, so that kind of sucked. And another thing with the UI, which I didn't really realize until I played this game, was you don't really have any feedback with your opponent. So if they're looking through their deck, they're thinking about cards to play, I can't actually see that on the board at all, which kind of sucks. Like, usually when you think about that in like Hearthstone, you don't really care, but in this game it really adds up because you sit there's nothing to tap on the screen, you just gotta wait, look at a blank screen pretty much, nothing happens, there's no like voice lines or anything, and then they just play their cards out. So it feels really slow because of this, even though the game isn't that slow realistically, and just kind of doesn't feel nice to play at times, especially when the opponent's playing really slow, which makes sense in a card game, take your time. And it also means you want to tab out a lot, which you can't do at all because there's no series of event lists in the game. So if they play a card and it has an effect and you can't see what minion they put it on unless you like manually scan over it, or maybe they're drawing cards, you can't actually tell. Like if they use their hero power, which was versing one person would keep drawing these potions all the time into their hands, you literally can't tell. Unless you look at the button and you see it's like kind of grayed out now, you can't see they've actually drawn that card. Even counting how many cards they have in their hands, it's just lots of small things like that make the game annoying to play at times. It's like form of a function where like it looks really nice, but functionality-wise, it doesn't really add up. And probably the biggest gripe, as somebody who plays lots of games casually all the time, is that unlocking new cards, as I said, was nice because you have, constantly gaining money. But at least from what I can tell of the early access version I have, there's no overarching quest system outside the game or daily missions. So if you want to get all the cards, you got to play a lot, which is obviously good for the grinders out there. But if you're someone who's an average Joe, maybe you play 2 or 3 games a day, you're going to have a hard time catching up, I feel, because you don't get much gold. You're looking at maybe 10 games to get 1 deck of cards, which is probably okay. But it sucks if you're starting out and there's no way to catch up really quickly. There are things, leveling up your characters and wanting to get more cards through the packs, but yeah, a little rough right now at least. But this is early access, as I said, so things can change. One thing I was really interested in, which I couldn't actually try out at all because of the early access, is the co-op mode. Because no one was playing, I waited for 45 minutes, nothing happened. I thought my game froze, but yeah, just no one's playing that co-op mode right now. A little annoying because you pick co-op, so you're in this little, subset of players, and then you're gonna pick easy, medium, or hard. So somebody might have been in the hard queue for all I know, but I was in medium, but you can't actually tell. Consolidate that a little bit more, make it maybe just easy and hard instead of, this 3 brackets instead. But yeah, it looks okay though, because what I've seen from the cards, there are a lot of cards to say stuff like, you and your allies receive X buff or X heal or whatever. So that means they've designed the game in mind of having this co-op feature. So hopefully it comes out pretty well, but yeah, I haven't got too much of a note to say on that really. Some small things like small player base and even some of the UI problems I have with the game could change by the time it fully releases. But most of the pros shouldn't change, and hopefully the game just gets improved as it releases. So is the game fun? Yes, but there are some slight problems with it, and there's so many card games out there right now. I feel like if you're already playing one, doesn't matter what type of game or what card game it is, probably stick with it unless you want something really, really different, because these games are really expensive to get into. What's nice about Fable Fortune though is that it's brand new, so there isn't that many cards out in the game, yet so you can catch up very, very quickly compared to something like Hearthstone, where you have years of content to catch up on. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.